Hello, I hope you're well. My name's Jack, and today we're discussing a very important topic in the guitar community. Is the valve amp dead? This has been a big debate in recent years, and I'd say in the past 3 to 4 years, the technology has gotten really, really good. A lot of people are making the switch, myself included. So today I wanted to tell you a bit of a story about how and when I changed from valve amps to going completely digital. So I've always been amp guy. I've always loved Marshalls and Fenders, and I've played Voxes before. And I think not only the sound, but the feel of all those amps. You know, when you're on stage and you can feel the cab vibrating and the air coming out of the speakers, it's a sensation and it's a vibe. And I think when you're so used to that, it's really difficult going from that to going completely digital. And having a sound just come out of monitors or even in ears. So a long time ago, I used to be in a band and we played all of the holiday parks. And I was using my Marshall JTM 60 amp at the time, great amplifier. At that time, I wasn't using in-ears. So my sound on stage was pretty much, can I hear my amplifier? And can I hear the singer? And can I hear the drummer? Yes, and that was kind of it. Can't actually remember if I actually had monitors on stage or anything. The amp sometimes was mic'd up, but in the end, the amp actually had an XLR output out the back, which wasn't great, but it did the job and it was fine. And I think we were a little bit lazy and couldn't be bothered to mic up the amp. And to be fair, the audience would never notice the sound difference as long as you're playing the right songs. So after that band, I ended up getting a Marshall Origin 50 head, which is actually just that head there. Still got it to this day. It's a great amplifier, although I don't really use it much anymore. And that became my main rig. I was doing an original project at the time that was very bluesy and Hendrix orientated, and it was the perfect amp for it, really. And then the pandemic hit, and I think, my theory at least anyway, is that amp brands and pedal brands kind of knew that people weren't going to be playing live for some time, meaning they couldn't really make much noise in the house with their traditional loud valve amp. So I think they knuckled down to try and perfect the digital amp for an affordable price. And that's when I bought one of these. This is a Boss IR200. I've actually made this little, what I call my emergency board. If you want to see a video on that, let me know. But this is, for those who don't know, it's a amp and cab emulator, and it's great. It's got Fender amps in, Vox amps in, Marshall amps in, although they're Boss's version of them, a little bit like Katana, but I think this is a bit better than Katana for me personally. It's great because it's got an effects loop. It's got reverb in it if you wanted to use that. It's great. It's pretty much amp and cab, that's it. And that was great because it meant I could play in the house, play with headphones on. You know, it was just a really good solution for that problem at the time. And then a few years after that, we're in kind of 2021, 2022 here. I got asked to dep a few gigs with a band I'm now in, the Hound Cats, and they are completely ampless. They don't use amps at all. So what I used to do was I had a pedal board full of pedals, and because I had an effects loop, I had my reverb and delays running through the effects loop and all my drive pedals running through the front, and then that would go straight to front of house, which was a bit of a new sensation for me. I suppose I'd gotten used to using this, never used it live before though. I kind of saw it as more of a practice thing, and then, you know, it became my main rig for quite some time after that actually. And around that time as well, I started to use in-ears, so I was now ampless and monitorless. And like I said at the start, it was an odd sensation going from having the feel of an amplifier on stage and feeling the vibrations and feeling the air to then not having that at all and it just coming through in-ears. And to be fair, it is better. You know, a lot of sound engineers would say that the less sound on stage, the better, because then they've got more control out of front of house. But it is better. It is great. And it's definitely the way that things are moving forwards. And then I bought something that honestly changed my life forever. I bought one of these. So This is Quad Cortex. This is incredibly heavy because I've ended up putting it on a pedal board. Again, if you want to see a little rundown of this board as well, let me know. But this is Quad Cortex. So what is Quad Cortex? I'm sure everybody knows what it is by now, but in case you've been living under a rock for the past 5 years, Quad Cortex is an amazing bit of hardware from the amazing people at Neural. Neural makes some fantastic guitar plugins, and to be fair, pretty much every video that you see on this channel, I'm using the Nolly plugin. It's just absolutely amazing. Quad Cortex is kind of the hardware version of that. It's got amp simulators in there, but it's also got like every effect you'd ever need. There's constant updates, there's new patches, and there's also an app where you can download other people's patches and upload your own. It's amazing. You can tell how much I love it, and it completely changed my life. 9 times out of 10, I'm gigging with it just as is. It's not really on a board or anything, but the reason it's on a board right now is because I've got a few extra pedals that I run into it for various different sessions and stuff like that, just for a bit more variety, and it takes pedals really well. And pretty much since I've bought that, it's been my rig. It's the guitar and the Quad Cortex. That's it. I use it live. I use it in the studio. I use it for everything. It's just an amazing bit of kit. And honestly, that's why I think the Valve amp is dead. I think Quad Cortex, Kemper, Helix, whatever your poison, I think it's the future, and the future's now. That is honestly my opinion, and I'm totally okay with that being the future or the present, because all the bands I see now, they're not using amps. I can't remember the last band I went to see and they're using a big heavy amp. It's just a thing of the past, really. Yeah, people like Joe Bonamassa or John Mayer or whatever, you know, they can afford all that stuff on stage and have a crew who can bring it on, but do you know what? I think there's nothing better than turning up to a gig with not very much stuff and still being able to make a massive sound. So yeah, the future of Valve amps, I don't know what it's going to be. I really think that everything's going digital for good reason. It sounds amazing, and as well as it sounding as good as an amp now, in my opinion, it's just the convenience. Rocking up to a gig with not very much stuff. Gone of the days of, you know, pushing up your 4x12 and your 100-watt Marshall. It's just not what people do now, and I'm totally on board with just taking a small rig. So thank you very much for watching and listening to this video. It's been a bit of a different one for me, but I've really enjoyed it. Have you got Quad Cortex? Have you got a Boss IR200? Let me know in the comment section. Let me know if you're using any other digital amps and what you think of it. And if you've enjoyed the video, please consider liking and subscribing. And I've been Jack. I'll see you on the next one.